Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome back to Sada Education. We have been away for quite some time, so it is time to resume our analysis of Islamic banking and finance. And this time, we will be producing a couple of videos on risk management for Islamic financial institution. Of course, there are quite a number of issues that need to be elaborated and analyzed so as to give justice to the business, to the education of Islamic banking, because we can see that risk management has not been given much emphasis in the Islamic banking education. Maybe I presume that risk management is seen as a way to use Islamic derivative in order to hedge against movement of funds. But derivative is a risk mitigation, whereas risk management encompasses a lot more than risk mitigation. Risk management is a process of identifying the risk and to measure the risk and to mitigate the risk, as well as to report and monitor the risk. So the scope of risk management is indeed very, very wide. And for that reason, I think this program would be useful to many people who are interested to know more about risk management for Islamic banking and finance. So what is risk management? Because here we are dealing with the banking business, and we know that the banking business is a business of taking deposit and using the deposit fund to make loan. So the deposit fund will cost the bank money because the bank will have to pay the depositor an interest rate. And the bank will use the deposit fund to make loans and charging the borrower some level of interest rate. So the bank is the middleman or the entity that marry the surplus unit to the deficit unit, and the basis of the connectivity between the deficit unit, which is the depositor, the lending party, and the surplus unit. My apology. The fact that the bank is the middleman that marry the surplus unit, which is the depositors, to the deficit unit, that is the borrower. So the bank is the middle entity, the intermediary that function, to connect both parties, so that the objective of all of these stakeholders will be fulfilled. So in a sense that the bank is a firm, the bank is a company whose business is to borrow from the depositor and pays interest and uses the deposit fund to make loan and charges interest. So that's essentially what a bank is. But then when it comes to risk management, we want to make sure that the loan that the bank have extended to the borrower must be repaid in full, right? Because the bank uses the deposit fund to make the loan, and this fund must be returned to the depositors when the deposit matures. So the bank must make sure that the loan is paid in full, because if there's a default on the loan, then the bank will not be able to recover the loan, and that will make it tough for the bank to redeem the deposit when it matures. So So when a bank makes a loan or when a bank makes a murabaha using deposit funds, it must make sure that the loan or the murabaha is a good loan, right? Making sure that it is a good loan, and a good loan is a secured loan. That is a loan that is well supported with collaterals and guarantors, such that the bank can recover the loan if it falls into default. So this is a very important, very important definition and statement that in order for the bank to ensure that it is able to redeem, to make their deposit redeemable in full, then the bank must make sure that the loan they gave are prudent loan, secure loan. Now, if the loan is not secured, then it becomes a risky loan, and the bank will not be able to recover the loan in full when or if the loan defaulted. And that will spell trouble to the bank because they are using depositors' money to make the loan. The bank are not using their own capital fund to make loans or murabaha, but they are using money owned by the depositors. So this deposit fund must be redeemed in full when it matures, because if it doesn't, then there will be panic among the depositor, and there could be a bank run, and that will cause problem to the bank. As what we see in March this year, what has happened to the Silicon Valley Bank in California. So in order to make a good loan, the bank must follow what we call the risk management process. That is, the bank must identify what are the risks in the loan, what are the potential losses that can cause the bank to make losses. So what are the risks? So this can be credit risk, it can be market risk, it can be risk operational, liquidity, business risk, withdrawal risk. So that risk and the sources of the risk must be identified. So the bank must make sure that they know what are the danger they are facing when they make the loan. So that is identification, risk identification. And then number two is how to measure the risk in the loan. So meaning that once we have identified the various types of risk in the loan, then we need to quantify the size of the risk in monetary value. So we can use different models in order to estimate this risk. We can use the credit scoring model, we can use VAR model, and many more models, that is currently used in the banking business. And this risk, once it is quantified, so we will be able to know, the extent of the danger and how we can mitigate the risk. Yeah, that goes to the third process, which is to mitigate the risk in the loan. So how can we minimize the risk? How can we try to, compress it, try to reduce it as much as we can, so that risk, the remaining risks are acceptable. And once the risks are acceptable, then we will be ready to award the loan to the prospective borrower. Thus, risk management can be understood as a process to identify, to measure, and to mitigate the loan risk or the murabaha risk before the loan is approved by the bank. So all of these processes of risk identification, risk measurement, and risk mitigation must be undertaken before the letter of offer is awarded to the prospective borrower. Because if this process is not conducted properly, and when the bank offer the loan, it is too late, because it will become a bad loan, as the bank have not conducted the identification, the measurement, and then the mitigation in the best possible manner. And what we will see is that the bank will instead issue a bad loan, which will default, once the money is disbursed to the borrower. So this is a very important dimension of risk management for us to understand, so that we know that risk management is not just about the use of derivative to mitigate the potential losses, but it means how can we identify the risk, what are the danger, what are the sources, how do we measure, what kind of model to apply, and to mitigate, how can we reduce the risk to an acceptable level, so that we should be able to confront the risk when it is actualized. Okay, guys, I think we can stop here, and inshallah, I'll see you again in the next video. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Thank you very much.